Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the second half of The Walking Dead Season 9. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts first, and then we'll do a Q&A on Whisper Logic. And spoiler warning per usual if you guys are not caught up for The Walking Dead, which is up to the end of The Walking Dead Season 9's first half. So, still getting ready, getting closer day by day to the second half for The Walking Dead Season 9. It's coming up pretty soon. February 10th is the return date, and we're starting to get to see some more stuff. If you guys missed it last week, there was a new sort of Whisper trailer where we got to see kind of the Whispers in their small group. Maybe close to the scene where we see them outside of the hilltop, but we'll have to see. We can kind of see that they're figuring out about the different communities, and maybe they've been stalking them for a little while. There was the part in the first half where the new group, Magnus group, kind of looked over in the woods because they thought someone was maybe stalking them or watching them, and then they thought, oh, it's nothing, whatever. But, you know, we're to believe probably that, yeah, that probably was the Whispers watching them, or one of the Whispers watching them. So in terms of the back half of the season, we do have a new poster for the second half. We have, it's kind of cool, link will be in the description, so sort of a Whisper poster, but you have kind of on the front for our survivors, you have the three, I guess, leads for the series, or I guess we could consider them to be the highest, ranking characters for the survivors, in that we have Daryl, we have Michonne, and we have Carol on the poster, so on the cover. Now, of course, obviously no Rick anymore going forward for The Walking Dead, so TV series, movies, yeah, fine, but not TV series. So it looks like those are going to be our most forefront survivors, and then after the three of them, you know, I don't even know who you would go. Maybe like Tara, because she's kind of leading the hilltop, right? Ezekiel and you know, of course, there's Eugene and Rosita and RJ and Judith, and then the others, you know, kind of go down from there. But that's kind of, Aaron's got to be in there somewhere as well, too, right? But that's kind of the order of precedence I would go with as far as our survivors go right now, with a heavy focus, of course, on the new villains coming in, because we haven't had new villains in the Walking Dead television series for a long time. Not since pretty much the debut of the Saviors, kind of coming in there at the end of Season 6, so it's been basically, you know, pretty much 3 years since we've seen like a new group of villains come in The Walking Dead, unless you want to count like, you know, sub-saviors or Morales coming back out of nowhere or things like that. That's pretty much how long it's been. So it's been a while. Dee Lee here, after the trailer for the Whispers last week, and their trailer that we got to see, says, I love Whisper Logic. And it's true, man. Whisper Logic, we'll go into a few things here that people had kind of questions about with regards to the Whispers and what they do and how they survive and everything. But it's really smart, man, you know, what they've kind of figured out. Because effectively what they've done is they've basically defeated the zombie apocalypse. You know, when you are acting just like a walker, and you've basically, if you can't beat them, join them, they've pretty much used that logic that they just have become just like zombies, just like walkers. We can't even tell the difference between them. So of course the walkers as well too can't tell the difference, and they've basically beaten them. You know, I like, actually, in the TV series version, it makes more sense with the time skip, because after those 6 years, a lot of these kind of smaller groups that sort of were barely getting by would have fallen at this point, and you basically would be left with a survival of the fittest. You would be left with only the groups that are the strongest, that have really the smartest, really figured things out, have won wars with other groups over scarce resources, have done what they needed to do. And the Whisperers are a group that you could definitely see being alive after that 6 or 7.5 year time skip since All Out War, and even prior to that. So it's basically like, pretty much at this point, it's like a decade into the zombie apocalypse. You could see a group like the Whispers still being alive in the zombie apocalypse, because first of all, who's going to mess with them? They're not going to, you know, go at war with other communities unless they want to. Other communities won't even know they're there. They'll be able to initiate without the other communities really knowing what they're dealing with, as Jesus saw there at the end of the first half. And then also, the zombies will never attack them. The zombies are more like allies than they are, enemies, right? Like, you have Rick, you know, he's trying to get away from them all. You have Daryl, he's kind of surviving, living in between, but he pretty much has to kill any that come across his path unless he can outrun them or something, or dodge them or lose them. With the Whisperers, they can just live amongst them. no problem for them. And like I said, you definitely can see why they've been able to survive all these years in the zombie apocalypse. They're not a group that doesn't make sense, or a group that you wonder how they could still be here at this point. No, they're a group that, you could see them there maybe after 20 years because they are just, the walkers, the zombies, are not a threat to them anymore. So yeah, it's a permanent guts trick, and it's really fun to see. Dr. Death had said, I love what they've done on the show, but they blew their whole alpha beta load here with this teaser. So for the new teaser trailer, they should have at least made it nighttime and creepy. The masks don't look great here. Look like Halloween costume masks and not walker face skins, but what do I know? And that's just something like, you're right, Dr. Death, for the introduction of the Whisperers at nighttime was the right choice. Especially I like the cemetery idea too. That was good. But they can't always, we're not always going to see them at nighttime in every single scene, right? And I get what you're saying, especially Beta in the new kind of teaser trailers. You see, as he's standing like a couple feet over everybody else, and he does look a little bit funny, right? Because it's like daytime, and he just looks like a guy in some terrible Halloween costume, right? Like some cheap Halloween costume that he put together from a secondhand store or Value Village of just this old, ratted, nasty clothing. And that's part of what we do see with the Whispers. You see Alpha, like in the other trailer for the back half, and she's on this black shirt on, but it looks like this black shirt that's like you wouldn't even see at a secondhand store. It's so just dirty with mud and just filthy and just scrubby and just beaten down that you'd expect the thing to be in a landfill or in the garbage, right? It's just so bad, right? So there is that. That's true. And I guess not every single scene. You're right. I'm not going to say that you're not right. Do they look that great in? Especially in the daytime, it doesn't work as well. But, that's to say the same thing with walkers, too. They're scarier at night for sure. And I like that they did their introduction at nighttime. We have to remember that this part right here looks like it's kind of like more of like a meeting. And it looks like, based on interviews, that we might see kind of the Whisperer's backstory explained in the first few episodes of this second half. I wouldn't be surprised if we got to see like at least one flashback episode for Alpha of how she kind of maybe forged the Whisper skin, and how she kind of went into this strategy and some kind of backstory episode. We always kind of wanted to see it for Negan, and we never got to see it. But for the Whispers, maybe we will. Based on interviews, it kind of sounds like we might see kind of a development or a Whisper episode where they becoming the Whisperers, right? Yeah, but I did appreciate the trailer. I liked the trailer. I thought it was fun. It was cool to see them out there. And they are very creepy, but you're right, they're scarier at night during the day. And with something like this, they do run the risk of making them look like a Slipknot knockoff band, or a bunch of people with bad Halloween costumes at like 3 p.m. and it hasn't gotten dark yet. I'm Joker28 says, if the Whisperers kill people that are in their territory, how do they form big groups? Don't remember if they explained this in the comics. So how do they add on numbers? Well, we did see in the comic book series, the Whisperers will add to their numbers. So they will offer some people the skin. They will offer some people the ability to join with them, but not necessarily big groups. It seems like kind of when they encounter larger groups, or they encounter communities behind walls and things like this, their philosophy, based on what Alpha has said so far and what we can read into, seems to suggest that they don't agree with their philosophy. Alpha disagrees that that type of society or that type of strategy will work. It seems to be more like she kind of views it as that type of strategy fails eventually, and with our group, she probably thinks they've just been lucky to survive all this time and still have the walls and still be alive. And you can see why she might think that based on what we've seen so far. There are times where Rick and the others have had to go into guts mode. There's times when they've had to no way out, fight their way out against an insurmountable amount of walkers, and have managed to do it, here and there. With rocket launchers and whatever else they were able to get. So they've definitely had a tough time, and the walkers have always been a threat.Maybe she sees it as the next step of evolution to, go into the Whisper style, to join with the walkers, to wear the skins, and as such, basically defeat them. So, I do think that they will offer some people to join with them if they're smaller, but she might look at it as insulting to see the Hilltop and Alexandria and the Kingdom and these groups, still here after this many years, she may not like that. So I don't think they try to kill absolutely everybody they come across. It just seems to me that with what happened, they basically started going after the group and on the offensive, and then maybe some of their own were killed. I don't know. A lot of their walkers were killed by the group, and kind of just maybe things just spun out of control, or maybe they just just don't like this whole idea, and they think that maybe they can take down these the groups that they're running into now, and that their time has passed, and that they shouldn't even be able to survive that way anymore with under these false pretenses, according to how Alpha would probably describe it. Bratislava Peric says, so whispers mimic walkers all day long? What for? Why walk like that all day if no living human is there to see you? No point. So if no tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound, right? So it looks to me like they live it, breathe it, and they own it. They look to be the type of characters that with their group and their philosophy are hardcore about it. They do it all the time. And if somebody is not probably mimicking it or is not, acting like it, maybe Alpha will get Beta to scold them and give them a spanking. I don't know. But she sounds pretty hardcore about this whole, concept, about this whole culture and group philosophy and group ideal. So maybe it's not for walkers necessarily to always walk like they are walkers, but to hide their knives up their sleeves, to blend in totally in camouflage, and to be very quiet so nobody knows. It's probably you got to say it makes sense, right? If you set strict, rules like that for everybody in your group to abide by, and another group is there or around you and happens to see one of your guys walking around, they're not going to think anything to the wiser. So, if they reveal themselves, maybe the rule is they have to kill the person that they've revealed themselves to. So if they've revealed that they're not a walker, they're a person wearing, a suit, then Jesus has got to go, or whoever they're encountering has to go at that point. Either that or they have to join. They can't allow them to know their secret type of thing, right? Maybe this shh doesn't just mean to be quiet, but also means don't let anyone know about your strategy and what you're doing, right? Know your enemy. They don't want other people to know them, right? They don't want them to, Art of War, they don't want them to know their enemy. Walking Dead Life says, Reese, Jackson, Lydia in the trailer tells Daryl, so this was a conversation in between, right? He's more like them and he should join, or something like that. So the conversation was going in the trailer video about, kind of how similar Daryl is to the Whispers, and that they probably see Daryl is the type of person that if they encountered Daryl, they would probably ask him to join them, right? He's the type of one that they would want to recruit and get on their side. But some of the others, no, not necessarily. Like Eugene and that, they probably would not want or be fond of having a Eugene right in their group. He would probably ask too many questions. He would think too much, and Alpha might have to smack him up too much, right? Weapon X100 says Negan, Dwight, and Daryl versus the Whispers would have been amazing. Thanks, Fear. Shit. So Fear has ruined it by taking Dwight, right? But Negan will still be there. You'll have Daryl still there, and Michonne, and the others as well too. So it's just, they're just diversifying out The Walking Dead. That's all they're doing. They're taking the series that was one series, and they're spreading it out more. They're adding on the movie universe, which is over here. They're adding to Fear, which is over here. They're just spreading it out more, which to me personally is fine, because I've always viewed it as like, The Walking Dead had a lot of potential, obviously starting out, and if nothing else, it's going to continue going on season after season. Doesn't sound like they're worried about it at all, so they want to go ahead and spread out those characters and share them to try to kind of create even more Walking Dead for us in a more expansive universe than just one movie. Something like, rather than just having the Avengers movie with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have Avengers, but then you have the other movies as well too, and they all kind of converge sometimes. You have Captain Marvel come out, and then she converges, and then you have the others, Ant-Man and Wasp, and everybody else, and you kind of create not just one movie, but you create more of an expansive universe. So it makes a lot of sense. I think it's really smart to do, and what else does AMC have right now that's really killing it? Breaking Bad is kind of over. You've got Better Call Saul. Mad Men, I think, is over now, isn't it? So they've got some other shows that are good, but nothing that really has the potential, even still, of The Walking Dead. Even after all these years, they have no other series that still has the same kind of potential that The Walking Dead has. So no wonder why they want more of it, right? It makes perfect sense. Red Rum Review says, how have you not seen Minority Report? Watch it. She has a shaved head in that, and it's an older movie, but it stands the test of time, in my opinion. So that's for Samantha Morton, who plays Alpha. She is in Minority Report, and she plays, what is it, like a creepy girl, I guess, is how you can say, because I haven't seen it for a long time, man. You know, I have seen Minority Report, but that was how many years ago? Was that over a decade ago? I don't even remember when the movie came out. You know, I do remember it and everything, and it was a good movie and everything, and she was good in that as far as I can remember, but I don't remember any details. It's just been so long, right? So, but I think for the role of Alpha with casting Samantha Morton, they did a great job casting. I mean, if you weren't going to go with Madison from Fear and do like a crossover that way, which to be honest I still would have thought would have been really cool to do, but they didn't do it. It's okay, whatever. They're doing it the other way now, and but that's one thing too, is that we come up with the fan theories and then they decide that, okay, well, we're not going to do the fan theory, but maybe we will do the crossovers and do this kind of deal our own way instead. So that's cool. But if you're not going to do it that way and you're going to just, you know, hire somebody new to do the role of Alpha, then yeah, man, I mean, you know, Samantha Morton is a great choice. But there was even the time there with the hammer at the end of season 3 where Chris Hardwick said that was a very Alpha-esque thing to do for Madison, right? Do you guys remember that? So that was cool, man. That was a cool fan idea that I think could have worked out really well. But they didn't want to do it. They wanted to add to Fear rather than have Fear characters cross over the other way. But I still think that eventually we probably will see some Fear characters go the other way. I do think at some point we will see at least one Fear character go into the Walking Dead series. So that's kind of cool. And also you can have like a little competition between the two series, right? You can have both your Walking Dead shows, and they can kind of compete over which one people are enjoying more. They'll just have to add a little bit more to Fear, as they have been doing. And so far, Walking Dead's pretty much probably won that every year. But you know, there's a possibility that one of these years, Fear could have a really good season again, and then maybe it will give Walking Dead a run for its money in terms of which one people enjoy more. So right now, it's not even a discussion, but eventually, who knows, if they work really hard at it, maybe it could be. Chris Malcandy says, do you think Magda is there to replace Maggie? Same age, same height, and she's kind of a leader of her own group. So that's from Chris. Well, mainly as a comic book character, because she got introduced at this time for a new beginning in the comic book series. Also because they have to add on more characters. They're killing off so many characters in The Walking Dead all the time, and in Fear, that they have to add in new characters. Otherwise, you're just going to run out of people. You won't have enough people there. We don't know if Maggie's going to come back. Her new show is premiering pretty soon, I think within the next month or so. So I'll let you guys know the premiere date. It is available. I think is it in February sometime? I don't know. A Whiskey Cavalier. So we'll see how well that's received and whether or not it's going to do a second season. She probably won't even know for a while, so who knows if we'll even see her back in season 10. But you know what? Either way, it's okay. The Whisperers are awesome, and you do have others there as well, too. She could always come back eventually, and this is kind of the way things are going right now for Walking Dead and Fear, is that we're always not sure. There's always been, you know, if you look at Daniel, Ruben Blades' character, Dan, in Fear the Walking Dead, he's always paged in and out. You know, he's always been in and out and back, and now he'll be back again. So for Maggie, even if it's a couple years, you know, she could come back in season 11 if it can't be 10 or something, or maybe even 12, who knows. I think we'll see. At this point, it's like, you know, eventually we'll probably see Maggie back, right? You know, they kind of have to bring those characters, and it'll be a big reveal when she does come back. It'll be exciting and everything. So hopefully it'll be there for the Whisper arc at some point. Couple more. Jiffy Miff says, I miss Rick mode, right? So no Rick in the poster, no Rick in the trailers. I miss Rick, right? And I think that was automatic that people were going to miss Rick, you know, after he left in the Walking Dead TV series version. But they've done such a good job that they've almost made it so that you don't even really think about it that much. At least I haven't, you know what I mean? And as a result, I just got to sit here and say, like, damn good job from them, right? To make it so that we barely notice that Rick isn't there, or we notice it, but it's not like we don't want to watch anymore. We still want to watch, is a good thing. Last one from him as well. I wish they were cannibals for the Whisperers. Well, maybe they are. You know, based on what they do, they could go that route with them if they really wanted to. You know, I don't see them. We haven't seen their stores. We haven't seen, like, their home base. with all their food supply and everything else. So we don't know what they have, and I would not be surprised if the TV series version of them, they were cannibals or something. But they've done that already with the Hunters with Terminus, and so they don't necessarily want to repeat that again and have the same kind of villain as they had before. The Whispers are very unique and are very original, and while I could see them doing that, at the same time, I just think, like, you know, it's a little bit unnecessary. But if they really want to, you know, totally blend in with the dead and be just basically the same as the walkers except human, right? Then they probably would do that too, right? They'd cook it up or whatever, and you'd have walkers going around eating people and whatever else, and the Whispers doing the same thing. So then they would totally blend in 100%. And then there would be basically no difference between the way they live and the way walkers live if they did that. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about the Whispers, Whisperer logic, Whisperer philosophy, their ideas, and what they do. And I'll have another video for you guys coming up pretty soon this week, probably in a couple days. Send me your questions for the Q&As. If we get new info or new trailers or new pictures, I'll let you guys know, and we'll cover it for the channel, of course. And I got some other videos coming. You know, Gotham's going strong. I want to do at least a couple more Z Nation videos because it's over now. And you know, it's always fun to reflect on things when things have actually fully ended. Luckily, The Walking Dead has not yet, because I've even gotten sad that Z Nation's ending. If The Walking Dead ends, I'm going to be really sad. So yeah, man, that's it for this video today, guys. Leave your comments below, and if you liked it, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left is subscribe. Thank you guys all for all your support last year in 2018. Looking forward to a great 2019 this year, and the Whispers being awesome in the TV series. I'll see you guys again soon. It's Trev, and I'm saying peace.